Visit grizzly.com for professional bench grinders.
Microjig, maker of the gripper. Work safer, work smarter.
About 2 years ago, I made a Krenov style hand plane that has a 1.5 inch blade, and I got a decent amount of use out of this. It's a really nice hand plane. I want to make another one, but this time use a 2-inch blade, and I also want it to have an adjustable mouth. So that's what I'm going to do today. I've got a slab of 12-quarter mahogany that was left over from my bed project that's going to be perfect for this hand plane. The first thing I'm going to do with the joiner is flatten one edge, and then at the bandsaw, I'll cut it to rough width. With that flattened face that I made earlier at the joiner up against the fence, I'll flatten this face and square it to the first. I have the squared faces that I just made at the joiner resting against the table saw surface and also resting against the table saw rip fence. Now I'm going to make a rip that's going to determine the maximum height of the hand plane. This rip at the table saw is going to get me closer to the final width that I need before I take this chunk of wood over to the bandsaw and rip off both sides. After ripping these sides off at the bandsaw, I'm going to remove these bandsaw marks by just lightly passing each face over the joiner. I drew 2 lines on the center block, one at 45 degrees and one at 62 degrees. The 45-degree line will become the bed angle for the plane. Now I'm just going to cut these out at the bandsaw. The piece that I cut at 45 degrees, which is going to make contact with the iron, needs to be really nice and flat and smooth. And to get this nice and flat and smooth, I'm going to use a hand plane. In order to make room for this bolt which holds the chip breaker onto the plane iron, I need to make a channel into this 45-degree block, and I'll do that next using my mortiser. I made a mark 1.25 inches up and 7/16 of an inch over from the plane iron, and this is going to be the location of the cross pin. And now for the tricky part of gluing this up. And because I'm going to have an adjustable mouth on this plane, it's going to make the glue up a little bit trickier than my last Krenov plane. So I need to have the 62-degree block pushed up to make room for the adjustable mouth, which is going to go on later. So I made a shim that's going to be the thickness of the adjustable mouth, and that's going to go underneath the 62-degree block, turn the glue up, and that should make things a lot easier to glue this together. I'm going to next drill a hole all the way through the hand plane for the dowel pin, and I'm going to use that little hole I created earlier which located the position of the dowel pin, and I've backed up the hole on the other side with a piece of scrap wood to prevent blowout. Using a flexible curve making template, I traced out what I want for the shape of my hand plane. Now I'm ready to cut it out at the bandsaw. I'm going to start working next on the adjustable mouth that goes on the bottom of the hand plane. And I already resawed off a section of mahogany off of the same block of wood that the hand plane came from. And I face jointed one face. Now I just need to cut it to width at the table saw, and then I'll plane it to thickness. In the front of the hand plane, I need to make a flat recess for the knob to travel, which is going to tighten down the adjustable mouth. And later, I'll make a short little channel within this recess for the threaded rod. At the drill press, I'm going to make a series of holes inside that recess that I just created at the mortiser so that I can make a channel for the threaded rod. And I backed up the other side with a sacrificial foot to reduce chip out. Now I need to turn the knob, which will be used to tighten down the adjustable mouth. I need to drill a hole for the threaded insert, which will allow me to attach the knob to the threaded rod. I'm threading the threaded insert now because if it's split, I wanted to be able to cut it off and start again further down. I need to drill a hole all the way through the knob for the threaded rod so I can attach a nut on the other side. put a threaded rod through the threaded insert in the knob, and on the other side I have a nut that'll keep everything together. This little piece of mahogany that I just cut will get glued on the front of the hand plane in front of the adjustable mount to complete the sole. Because the threaded insert protruded past the surface a little bit, I had to make room around the slot to accommodate it. I have the adjustable mouth inserted, and I also have a temporary wedge that I made so that I can flatten the sole of the plane while it's tensioned. And I'm going to do that on a piece of 220 grit sandpaper with a granite surface plate. The purpose of having an adjustable mouth opening is that you'd like to have a large mouth opening when you're taking off thick shavings and a smaller mouth opening when your shavings are more fine. And ideally, you'd like to have the mouth as closed as possible while still allowing the shavings to come out freely out the other side of the hand plane. That's because it's the region or the part of the sole in front of the knife that actually keep the fibers pushed down, and it prevents the fibers from tearing before the knife has a chance to sever them. So the front of the hand plane, the region in front of the blade, actually plays a pretty important role. Well, I really hope you guys enjoyed watching this build, and if you have any questions about anything that I did in this video, please let me know in the comments section. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, I hope you would consider subscribing, and I also hope that you'd consider becoming a part of my Patreon community. Thanks for watching, guys.